Welcome to Code to Enhance Learning Beginners Web Development video series. In this video series, we are learning about web development using HTML, CSS and JavaScript so that by the end of this video series, you will be able to create your own amazing website. So today we will be continuing with our third theme and the name of today's lesson is it right or is it wrong? In our video series, we have themes and we create a project about the theme going to 3 to 4 different lessons learning various concepts. Research shows that frequent testing helps students remember and teachers have to get creative. Students are better in recalling, retrieving and applying new information after taking a test on it. However, for teachers, frequent testing becomes very tedious as checking a paper and analyzing them takes time and energy. With the help of the technology, this effort can be minimized a lot so that the tests are helping the students to gain as well as it's not overwhelming for the teachers. We will make a web application in which we will quiz the users. You can also create your quiz application about a topic that is your favorite or you are learning in class and show it to your friends, families and teachers. So in today's lesson, we will learn to show the questions of the quiz in the element and also check the option guessed is right or wrong. Variables in JavaScript. Let us look into a new concept called variables which we will be using significantly while programming. We need our program to be flexible. This means that they can work with different values and give us the required result. Imagine a calculator can only take 2 plus 2 or may a digital watch which only shows one time all the day long, etc. This would be useless, right? We want a product that is flexible. That is, a calculator which can calculate any numbers of any type, a digital watch which can keep changing the time and show us the time all day long. We can make a program flexible by using variable. JavaScript variables are basically containers for string values. These values can keep changing. Let's see how a variable works with example. As you can see in the given example below, we try to calculate the total amount of money Tinku and Pinku has. First, we use the var attribute to declare two variables Tinku and Pinku and store the amount of money each of them has in their respective variable. Next, we declare another variable called money to store the total amount of money they both have by using the addition function and alert the variable to show the total amount of money they have in an alert box. We can store any value in the variable and can keep using them in the program to find the total amount of money. This is how variable makes the program flexible and is invariably used in programming. Now let's move to our next topic, that is input statement in JavaScript. In our web page or application, we want the user to input values like the names, addresses or phone numbers. Let me show you how you can take these information inputs from the users. The input tag in HTML specifies an input field where the user can enter their data. An input field can vary in many ways depending upon the type of attribute. For example, in an application to help the user add two numbers as shown in the image, we will take the input as follows through the text box. Now, let's go ahead and try to implement some variables and input tags in our page. So as you can see here, we have created the structure of our web page. Now inside the body tag, we are going to initiate the first input field, that is number 1, for the user to enter the first number which they want to add using our web application. And set the type of input to be number and give an ID of num1 followed by a break tag, and then we are going to set another input field, that is number 2, and we are going to declare the same type, that is number and ID of num2 and followed by another break tag. Now inside a script tag, let's declare a variable sum so that later in our code we can use this variable to store the sum of the two numbers entered by the users in the input field, followed by a function, and we are going to name our function add. Inside the function, we are going to declare another variable x to access the first input given by the user by using our document.getElementById.value function. Inside the ID, we are going to type num1, that is the ID of our first input field. Next up, we are going to declare another variable y to store the second input given by the user. In the same way, the ID of the second input field being num2 dot value. So now we are going to call the variable sum and assign the sum of the two inputs given by the user to it. Number is an already defined function in JavaScript which is used to convert the input received into numerical values. Thus, using the function number will help the computer to understand the given input by the user is numerical input. So now we are going to declare button tag inside our body tag, and inside the button tag we are going to declare an on-click event handler and pass our function add. So now that we are done with the code, let's see how it looks in the browser. So here as you can see we have two number inputs, number 1 and number 2. Let's add our inputs 5 and 3, and as we can see upon clicking the add button it shows 8. Next up I have a very interesting practice task for you guys. So pause the video right here, and what I want you to do is write a program to calculate the area of a rectangle of dimension entered by the users. Go ahead. So now that you are done with the task, let's move on with our lesson. You can take the input in different formats like text when you want them to type their names, checklist to select the food they like, or radio button to select their gender, and many more ways. Let me show you some. The type of input attribute specifies the input element to be displayed. Some other important types of input tabs are shown in the table here. For example, inside the attribute checkbox, we can pass the value of the checkbox to get a checkbox type input field, or pass the value radio to get a radio type input field. Now let's use some of them in our website. So pause the video right here, and what I want you to do is make a form which collects the basic data of a person through different types of input attributes as discussed above. Also, when the submit button is clicked, summarize all the information and show it with the alert method. So this is how our web page looks like in the browser. It says summary maker. On top we have the field to enter our name. I'll enter my name, that is Rishabh. Then I'll select my gender, that is male, followed by my hobby, that is cricket. Then I'll use the slider to confirm my age, followed by my email. When I click the GIF that says OK, an alert box pops up that summarizes my information that I have just added in the website. So now go ahead and program to create your own website that summarizes the information entered by the user. So I hope you are done with it. Let's move on with our lesson. Now that we have learned the input statement and variables in the lesson, let's use these learnings and add questions and answer in the quiz application. So this is what my page looks like before adding the question and the options. So now let's go ahead and add some question and options to them through our JavaScript code. So first we are going to start by declaring a variable answer to store our correct option, and initially we will set its value to 0. So next we are going to use our document.getElementById function to access the HTML elements that contains the question and the option. So first we are going to access the paragraph whose ID we have set to question. Here we are going to add our question. We're going to add the dot inner HTML attribute to access the inner HTML of the paragraph, and we are going to set the first question to what is the capital of India. Next up we are going to do the same for our button tags containing the options. So here goes the first button tag whose ID is option 1, accessing the inner HTML. We are going to set the first option to Delhi. Then we are going to do the second one, and we are going to set it to Ahmedabad. And then again we go for the third one, and we are going to set it to Chennai. And for the last one, that is the fourth one, we are going to change it to Mumbai. Next up we are going to set the answer from 0 to Delhi, that is option 1, which is the correct option. Now let's see how it looks in the browser. So as you can see, we have successfully added questions and options to them in our web page. So now next up I have a very interesting practice task for you guys. So pause the video right here, and what I want you to do is open your saved file and write a program to show questions and 4 options. Go ahead. So now that you're done with the task, let's move on with the lesson. Let's learn one more concept called the condition statement, which helps the computer to know if the option selected by the user during the quiz is right or wrong. Let's learn how to implement them in our JavaScript codes. Repetitive decision making can be tedious for human. For example, checking if the option is right in multiple questions is correct or not for 100 students in a class for a teacher can be tiring. We can teach the computer to make decisions using condition statement, and it can take millions of decisions using one single statement, quickly saving the humans from the mundane decision making. Condition statements are used to perform different action based on the condition. In JavaScript, we have the following condition statement. We use if statement to specify a block of code to be executed if a particular condition is true. We use the else statement to specify a block of code to be executed if the same condition is false. The else if statement is used to specify a new condition to test if the first condition is false. And we use the switch statement to specify many alternative blocks of code to be executed. Given below are the format of how we can pass a condition statement. We can get a brief understanding of the condition statement once we apply them in our browser. Let's go ahead and add some condition statement in our own browser. So we are going to create an application to decide whether the number entered by the user is odd or even. Inside the body tag, first we are going to add the main heading inside the h1 tag, that is the odd even finder. Next we are going to create the input field where the users are going to input the number which they want to test to be odd or even, followed by 2 line break tags, following which we create our button tag which says calculate. Now inside the script tag we declare a function rec, and inside the function we create a variable to store the input given by the user using the document.getElementById function, and we access the value. Next we use the if condition statement where the condition is if the number entered by the user divided by 2 gives us a remainder of 0, then we will alert that the number is even, where we use the percentage sign as the modulus operator that returns us the remainder after dividing the two values. Else, we are going to alert that the number entered by the user is odd. Alert, the number is odd. Next up, we are going to use our onClick event handler attribute inside our button tag to call our function rec so that the operation we stored inside the function are implemented here. Now let's look how it works in the browser. So this is how our page looks right now. Now when we enter a number, say 6, and click the button, it shows that our number is even. Now again, when we change our number to 5 and then click the button, it shows that our number is odd. So our web page works perfectly. Next up, we have an interesting practice task for you guys. So pause the video right here, and what I want you to do is write a program to identify if the number entered by the user is even or odd. Go ahead. So now that you are done with the task, let's move on with our lesson. Let's learn this keyword to make our program more efficient. In the example given below, to change the color of the button on clicking the button, we can see to access the button tag in our JavaScript code, we write the statement this instead of the document.getElementById functions, since this statement allows us to access the HTML of the element it's being passed inside. By now we have learned quite a lot of things in the lesson. Let's try to implement them in our main project. Let's go. So this is how our page looks like without any condition statement in it. What we want is when we click the right option to the question, the page alerts something saying that the option is right, and when we click the wrong option, the page alerts something else showing us that the option is wrong. Let's head back to our Visual Studio Code and type codes to make this happen. So first inside the script tag, we are going to initiate a function and name it checkAnds. Next inside the parenthesis, we are going to pass the parameter guess, and inside the function, we are going to declare an if statement. And in the if statement, we are going to pass a condition that when our guess is equal to the answer that we have to Delhi, we are going to alert you are amazing, showing the user that the answer is right. And in case our user guesses something else other than the correct option, then our web page is going to alert, oh, you missed it, better luck next time. Next up, we are going to use the onClick event handler attribute inside our button tags to call the function called checkAns, which is declared inside the JavaScript codes, so that the operation we have stored inside the functions are implemented here. Now let's look how it works in the browser. So this is how our page looks like in the browser. Now when we click any option other than Delhi, it shows oops, better luck next time. And now when we click Delhi, it shows you are amazing, showing us we have guessed the right answer. Next up, we have an amazing practice task for you guys. So pause the video right here, and what I want you to do is open your saved file and write a program to check if the option answered by the user is correct or not. Go ahead. So now that you are done with it, let's move on to our quiz section of this lesson. So now we are at the end of this lesson. By now you must be in a position to solve these questions. Go for them. So I hope you got the answers correct. The answer to the question 1 is option C and to the question B is option B. So this will be it for our lesson 9. To be the first one to get notified when our next video is released, press the subscribe button and click the bell icon. If you like this video, please press the thumbs up button. So I am Rishabh from Code to Enhance Learning, signing off for today. Hope to see you in our next lesson of Web Development for Beginners web video series. Thank you.